Let's start with the campaign, your new Kickstarter campaign for Slide. What can you tell us about Slide?
Well, I grew up in Oregon, the hills of Oregon, in the woods actually. And my dad, who's a banker, oddly enough, was a really funny guy, and he listened to country music all the time. You know, Hank Williams, Patsy Cline, Johnny Cash, people like that. And so that was my roots, and I just thought it'd really be fun to make a film that talked about that environment. Um, it's a cowboy film. It's a cowboy comedy, actually. If Mel Brooks had done animation, this would be Blazing Saddles, that kind of film. But basically, it's a musical. We're using a lot of country western that mimics um, um, Hank Williams and Patsy Cline. So the voices and the instrumentation. And actually, I used to play a slide guitar. It's a guitar you put on your lap,
Sure.
you know, a lap steel kind of guitar. And so I love that kind of music. So we have a lot of lap steel in this film. And the star's name is Slide because he plays the guitar. And the name of the film is Slide. So that sort of puts it all together. But it's about this mythical guitar player who moves into town. It's called Sourdough Creek, and which is a very corrupt logging town. And he comes in there, and with his music, is able to right all the wrongs of the past and get rid of the bad guys.
Very old-fashioned.
Yeah, it is.
A cowboy tale.
It is. It does have a lot of adult material in it.
Okay.
The big saloon where everybody hangs out and the music is happening, the dancing, everything, has a hostess bedrooms upstairs. I don't know how to
A hostess, okay.
yeah, bordello kind of atmosphere.
Right.
So there's a lot of that in there. So it's not your typical Western. It does
Right.
have a lot of raw. One of my favorite Westerns was McCabe and Mrs. Miller by Robert Altman. I don't know if you ever saw that.
I haven't. I'm familiar with it, but I've never seen it.
Yeah, it also takes place in the woods and the hill and a lot of corruption, and the whole style of the film is kind of comic comic western. It really works for me. It's really a beautiful film, and the look of it and the lighting of it and the costumes look so original. They're so real. It looks much more like a documentary. But that's another big influence for this film, Slide.
Now your campaign, you're looking. I believe it was what, 77,000 is what the Kickstarter is looking for, and that will get you through 6 months worth of work. Is that correct?
Yeah. I've done about half of the film is all totally animated.
Okay.
And it looks really great. It's a whole new style for me. It's really gorgeous. And that's about 35 minutes, and maybe 40 minutes. And then I'm going to finish the rest of it, hopefully up until June. And that's when the money runs out.
Gotcha. Okay.
I got to find another way to get some money. But anyway, we will be doing the production as I'm drawing it. And so I should be finished with my part of the film in June. And that's when hopefully the money runs out and we have a finished film. But you never know.
Some nice like most Kickstarters, you've got some fun benefits, DVDs, streaming, a chance to be in the film. Is that correct?
We got a bunch of bad guys. Remember that scene in Blazing Saddles where what's his name? Harvey Korman
Right.
recruits all these really bad guys.
Yeah.
And thank you, John. And so we got a bunch of bad guys in here. I mean, a whole slew of bad guys. And so it'd be fun to have some people do some voices. Men and women could do the voices of this. So, and I would do a caricature of them and make them look really bad, you know, like put scars on their face, an eye patch, you know, stuff like that. So it's a really fun character, and I think people would really, really dig getting into that kind of thing. And I think they're selling out pretty well, aren't they, John? Those characters?
We sold all 5.
Yeah.
We're going to increase it for another 5.
Yeah, we sold out all the 5 ones, but we may add on more bad guys. So there's plenty of room for bad guys in this film.
I'm curious, has your process, I mean, you're one of the few animators that are still, I mean, hand drawing at feature films. I mean, you're, I think, the first, and you're probably still one of the few doing it.
Yeah.
Has your process changed at all over the last in a couple decades?
It has. The digital revolution has really changed a lot, and thank God, because it was so expensive to do everything on tape or on film. Working with the labs and doing an answer print and a check print and a negative print and all this stuff was extremely expensive. Now it goes straight to digital, and making a print is, a couple bucks.
Right.
So it has really made my life a lot easier, and which is great because I used to spend about 50% of my budget on the technical aspects. Now I spend about 5% of the budget, maybe even less,
Wow.
technical aspects, and all that rest of that money now goes to the artists,
Right.
which is where it belongs, which is where it should be. So yeah, I'm very happy for the technological revolution.
That's got a free, I mean, does it allow you to be a little more creative in the process as well then?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I can get wild and crazy. You can move things around with Photoshop. But anyway, yeah, the digital revolution has helped me a lot, and I was able to make these films now for a lot less money.
How have you found hand-drawn 2D animation is, I don't want to say it's becoming a past art form, but it's an art form that's not as widely, I think, used as it was.
Well,
Where do you see it going?
Well, all the big budget films, you are correct, are computer animation,
Right.
Pixar and Sony and Disney and people like that. But a lot of the Japanese are still hand drawn,
Right.
and a lot of the TV, The Simpsons, and I mean almost all the TV shows on animation are hand drawn. And there are a bunch of animated features that are also hand drawn. The one about the lost hand. So, and I think actually that is coming back. No, you know what the name of that film was? The Hand That Lost His Body.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I lost my body.
I Lost My Body. John knows everything. He's a walking encyclopedia. What would I do without him? I Lost My Body. It's this hand that's walks around. It's beautifully animated. And Michael de Dr. Witt, the red turtle, is also a beautiful, beautiful film that's hand drawn. So yeah, there's a lot of great films like that. Signa Bauman is doing a hand-drawn film called My Love Affair with Marriage, and you should check that out. That should be out sometime next year, and that's a gorgeous film. So more people are doing independent films like me. They have an idea. They don't have the money to work with Hollywood, and they probably don't even want to work with Hollywood. Right. Because of the rules and the censorship and all that stuff. So more and more people are doing hand-drawn films as independents.
Well, I mean, you were part of the 90s animation boom. You basically came in towards the very beginning of it and helped launched a huge independent animation boom.
In all modesty, yes, I think I did inspire a lot of young animators who were surprised that one person could make their own film. And because of the new technology, of course, more and more people are doing it. And, someone should write a book about this, because there is such a revolution now of people making their own independent animated feature film that it's almost become boring. There's so many people doing it. And I think that would be a really interesting history to go back and find out the predecessors, the
Sure.
early pioneers of that movement.
Now you're I don't want to touch base as far as where people can see your work now. You have your own YouTube page. It's at Plimtoons is the YouTube page. You've got you're on Facebook, obviously. You're Plimtoons.com.
Yep.
And a lot of your films are available for rent and video on demand and various platforms. Where do you see distribution right now for animated films or animated shorts is, I think, it's peppered around. Do you feel there's any platform that's best suited for streaming animated films? Do you think there's somewhere that people should be going to watch them, especially independent ones like yourself?
Yeah, it's really in flux right now, because it used to be theatrical and then TV and the internet. Now the internet is really moving in with Netflix and Hulu and Amazon and people like that. So I'm selling my stuff on Netflix occasionally and other vehicles. Criterion just showed almost my whole library. Not so many of the shorts, but all the features. Um, and that seems to be a good market. And so I think that where it's going, it will be a Netflix kind of model where everybody will watch it at home on their big screen computer. I still love showing in movie theaters. I hope to return to movie theaters maybe in a few months. And also I love festivals. Festivals are a great place for people to discover my films. And it's at the festivals like Sundance or Telluride or Cannes or Annecy that the distributors discover my work. And that's probably the best way for them to discover my new films and my feature films and my shorts.
Well, I back in the, this is going back to the mid to late 90s. That's where I started seeing a lot of your work, was at local animation festivals, or a bar would have like an animation night and then have a mini festival. I think that's where I first saw your 25 Ways to Quit Smoking.
Yeah. Where are you from?
I'm from Buffalo, New York.
Oh yeah.
So, you know,
I was just in
hours away.
Buffalo last year. I was just in Buffalo, and it was beautiful. I had a really great reception. You had some wonderful old theaters there.
Yeah.
It was a good experience.
Well, good. I'm glad you enjoyed our fine city. But yeah, so I miss those days when, I mean, I don't know if they're, especially now with COVID, you're not seeing any of that, but
yeah,
it was glorious to go out to a bar and suddenly you're watching 5 hours of animation. It was great.
I know. Yeah, I started out with MTV was one of my early sponsors, and that's probably where you saw a lot of my stuff.
Right.
But also the Spike and Mike shows, which traveled all over the country, and also Terry Thorne's Festival of Animation, or Animation Celebration. And that's where I really got my connection with the audience. I would go to these shows, I would show my films, and that's where I'd meet a lot of my fans. So those unfortunately are not really showing much anymore. But I'm hoping that after the virus is gone, they will come back, because I love the theater experience, the cinema experience, seeing it on a big screen and hearing the people laugh. To me, that's one of my favorite experiences.
Do you have any advice for any up and coming animators?
I do. And one of the gifts that you can get, one of the rewards for the Kickstart campaign, is I will give you a 1 hour lesson on tricks of animation, how to become a success like me. But just real briefly, I have what's called Plimpton's Dogma. Have you heard of that?
I know, I haven't.
These are my 3 rules for success in animation. Rule number 1 is make your film short. If it's a short film, like 5 minutes, don't make a 15 or 20 minute or 25 minute film. Nobody wants to buy it. And even if it's a feature, don't make 2 hours. Keep it like an hour, hour and a half, something like that. Dumbo is 62 minutes, I think.
Wow. And
it's one of my all-time favorite films. Rule number 2 is make it cheap. And thank goodness now with digital technology, it's just pennies now to make a feature film or a short film. You can do it at home on your own. A guy named Chris Sullivan from Chicago does that a lot. He works at home and he makes these wonderful, wonderful films by himself for pennies. And so he's also another guy who's doing really well in independent animation. And rule number 3 is make your film funny. Now, if you want to make a serious political film or a artistic breakthrough abstract film, or a film where you want bare your soul to the world, go ahead, but no one's going to want to see it unless there's humor there. If there's humor in there, people want to see it. Now, I don't know why that is. It doesn't make sense for me, but I love making people laugh. I love drawing funny cartoons. So for me, I like to make funny films. That's why Slide is sort of a Mel Brooks-ish kind of Western, and that's why I enjoy making it.
Well, to donate to Kickstarter, look up Slide, Bill Plympton. Mm-hmm. And good luck with your campaign. I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me, and good luck with everything.
Yeah, well, thank you very much for checking us out and promoting our project. It's really helpful that people are excited about the project, and you know, you should, when people go online, they'll see a lot of the artwork from the film that's really super. and I think maybe a couple of shots, a couple of scenes. You can see some of that stuff too. So
Sure.
just to for them to spread the word is all I ask.
Excellent. Well, good luck. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, thank you,
Thanks.
Jeff.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.